from hillbilly crime. You can't hide from hillbilly crime. You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pine.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Can y'all hear me? Still no sound. You got it now, though, don't you? Dang it. Sorry, y'all. If I would pay attention, it's a good thing I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything that was good, I promise. All I said was,
Nothing
Mommy.
you can't say again.
I was saying, Mommy, can you hear me? I thought it was yours. I thought it was
Are
yours.
Are you echoing?
I don't know. Am I echoing?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So let me go in here to our audio echo cancellation. Okay, well, I've got my echo cancellation turned on.
Well, you sound better now.
Okay, let me turn that off. All right. Maybe it was just because I was getting a little too loud. I was
Oh, now you're echoing.
Do you have anything? It might be just on your side. Can you guys hear an echo on your end? Nobody else is saying echo. That was my fault, y'all. I didn't have my microphone turned on very good. Okay. Thank you, Miss Paula. Miss Paula, thank you. I got that today. I think it was today. Thank you. Bless you. I cannot thank you enough. Okay, so let's start over, shall we? Now, tonight, we were going to talk about the Campbell County detective who got arrested for CSAM out of Tennessee. He was he's in big trouble. He's on I don't think he has a bond. He might have a bond. But regardless, we were going to talk about that case tonight until this was sent to me by our mods, actually. Thank you. Our mods are awesome. Okay. So thank them because they are second to none in our live chat. They always make sure we are taken care of. Okay, so tonight we've got a very wild story out of Kentucky, of course, that just exploded into the public record. So a civil lawsuit. You know how much I love a civil lawsuit. Why do I here at Hillbilly Crime like a civil lawsuit so well? Well, let me tell you why I like a civil lawsuit so well. Now, the reason why I like a civil lawsuit is because we can get depositions. We can get things through discovery through civil lawsuits that you can't get any other way. And this civil lawsuit has accidentally exposed details of a federal fraud investigation, which we already knew this fraud investigation, the fraud Medicaid investigation, the one that kind of just went silent, that nobody's heard a word about since they announced the investigation. Do y'all remember that? Back in 2023, the FBI here in Kentucky, they announced a fraud or an investigation into ARC, addiction recovery care. That is the Rehab that used Michael Clark, the preacher man who was in the chambers with Judge Kevin Mullins and Mickey Steins the day of the shooting. ARC is the big rehab that went from one little sober living house to being the leading, the leading rehab in the state. All right, Alan to the rescue. Maybe he can try and get that dog. Okay. But ARC, addiction recovery care, rehab, preacher man, Judge Kevin Mullins. You also have all of Kentucky who's who. Andy Bashir. They are all buddy partners with ARC and have been for the last several years until they went and got in all this trouble. And then you haven't heard none of them. Our attorney general went to law school or college, one of the two. I don't know if it was law school or if it was like earlier than that in their college career. I think it was law school though. But our attorney general went to school with ARC's founder. So they are very, very good friends. And those connections in high places soar. Hal Rogers, shaping our Appalachian region. All of these big, huge nonprofits that came in here funneling all these millions and millions and millions of dollars into southeastern Kentucky. When they saw this opportunity in the rehab sector, when they saw their opportunity in treatment with all this money that was coming to help the opioid crisis, but it ended up going into people's pockets. Whenever they were setting up, now I have personal experience and knowledge of all of this. I was there when all of this was being laid. I was a patient in medically assisted treatment, trying to advocate for that, but they didn't want to hear nothing about medically assisted treatment. It was all abstinence only. That's it. Until the government decided, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. If you do not offer a medically assisted treatment program for people, you're not going to get no more federal money. So then all of these providers and doctors who had previously been so opposed to medically assisted treatment, now all of a sudden they are all for it. Now all of a sudden they're getting peer support specialists licensed and paid. So, but basically that was just another big financial windfall for them. The counseling that they have inundated us with. Unbelievable. But through this civil lawsuit, they accidentally exposed details of that federal fraud investigation involving a major addiction treatment company called ARC, Addiction Recovery Care. And according to documents filed in court, the Department of Justice was negotiating a settlement worth nearly $28 million. Now, we heard a little bit, if you all were with us, if you joined us the night, we did a couple shows on the very first lawsuit Angelica had filed, a company named Angelica had filed a lawsuit against ARC because ARC had sold them their tax credits. And then whenever they were supposed to get their tax, they sold them before they got them, right? So they got the money from this company named Angelica. And then whenever they got their tax credits, they were supposed to hand them over to Angelica, right? Because they had already bought them. Instead, whenever they got them, they just kept them and then used them to pay their bills or whatever. And they didn't give them over to Angelica. And I guess they figured, since this founder of ARC is such a big lawyer, because that's how he's trained, he's a big attorney. And since he's a lawyer, I guess, I'm purely speculating here, of course, but I'm guessing that he just thought that they would deal with it in litigation, in court. White collar crime in Kentucky is never charged. Hasn't that been my big thing this whole time? Right? White collar crime. Thank you, Quinley. And Quinley is not, well, I'm not gonna out you. Thank you, love. Thank you. But okay, so what was actually happening this whole time behind all of our backs, according to the documents that are filed in court, the Department of Justice was negotiating this settlement. And here's the twist. The fraud case itself wasn't public. No, it was tied to a sealed whistleblower lawsuit. And the reason that we even know about it now is because a separate creditor, number 2, a second creditor lawsuit attached the DOJ settlement as an exhibit. In other words, a financial dispute may have blown open a federal healthcare fraud investigation. So tonight, we're going to break down what ARC is, what the whistleblower lawsuit alleges, how tens of millions of Medicaid dollars are involved, and how a creditor lawsuit may have exposed the whole thing. So let's start with the company at the center of this, ARC. It's a Kentucky-based addiction treatment network that grew rapidly across Appalachia. The organization operates treatment centers, recovery housing, and counseling programs. And over the past decade, it became one of the largest addiction treatment centers in the state, in the region, really, because I think they do West Virginia too, and ever since they got in all this trouble in Kentucky, they closed down all of these facilities in Kentucky and they hightailed it to Virginia and West Virginia. They've been opening facilities there ever since they closed all these down here in Kentucky. Now, the way that it looked to me was that they learned all their lessons with Medicaid, trial and error, kind of how I have on social media and content creation. They did it with the insurance, with Medicaid. And once they had learned all their lessons, once they had figured out the system, what they could and couldn't get away with, then they were going to go to a different state, start all over again. Let's see if we can get it right this time. It's kind of how it seems to me. At one point, ARC was widely promoted as a major player in addressing the opioid crisis in rural Kentucky. But they wouldn't listen to anybody like me. They didn't want any kind of information, any kind of experience, or any kind of knowledge from anyone like me. My master's degree wasn't good enough. No, they wanted to go get information from somebody like Michael Clark. But according to a federal whistleblower lawsuit filed in 2023, some of the company's billing practices may have raised serious questions. The case was filed under the False Claims Act, which seems to me like we're seeing a whole lot of those here in Kentucky. We can go back looking at MCHC as well. The case was filed. MCHC has had several false claims. Well, I don't know about several. There've been a couple. One or two, maybe. Two, I think. I'm gonna have to check that out. But I know that there have been 2 False Claims Act cases that I have read recently, and they don't get picked up. You have all this trouble. People go to all this trouble to bring these whistleblower claims and put their own self on the line, their own careers, their own social and professional lives, and then nothing happens. Nothing. Several different instances like that. Even with the Kentucky Power thing, that woman, the whistleblower, came to the public comment hearing. She did the same thing. At great risk, at great personal risk, she came forward and spoke about what she saw and what she was part of. Nothing happened. When they asked the president if she had investigated those claims, she said, "Oh, I didn't even get her name." But she gave her name. So if she didn't get it, that was on her. These False Claims Act cases, there have been several in the news recently, and these cases allow whistleblowers to sue on behalf of the federal government if they believe that taxpayer funds were obtained fraudulently. Those cases are called quitam lawsuits. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Quitam. Quitam. Is that right? Do any of you all know? And then Merle. Y'all, if you are not signed up for Elizabeth's Patreon, you need to do it. She posts so much information there. Thank you, sister. I sure do. I am working my tail off on that Patreon. I mean, I'm really working hard. Now, these quitam lawsuits, and they are usually filed under seal while the Department of Justice investigates. Now, that appears to be exactly what happened here. The whistleblower case was filed in federal court in the Eastern District of Kentucky, and for a long time, the public had no idea that it even existed. But investigators were reportedly examining Medicaid billing tied to a service called psychoeducation. Now, according to reporting in court filings, ARC received around $70 million, $70 million in Medicaid reimbursements for that billing category. Psychoeducation. Do you think that has anything to do with educating, like maybe a community liaison? Do you think maybe a community liaison would be educating people? I wonder who all of that $70 million for psychoeducation. I wonder who was getting all that money. That was between 23 and 24. And that amount represented roughly 20% of all payments nationally for that specific Service. Now, the DOJ settlement draft referenced in the lawsuit suggests the government believed some of those reimbursements may not have been legitimate. Imagine that. The proposed settlement amount, about $27.7 million. But again, those details were never meant to be public yet. It was leaked. These lawyers are getting super strategic and smart. This is the second time. Jeremy and Carrie Bartley were the first ones that I saw do it. And now this one. These attorneys are attaching these documents as exhibits. Jeremy and Carrie Bartley did the exact same thing with Mickey Stein's mental evaluation stuff. They attached the grand jury transcript to theirs whenever they filed theirs. Now, I think that their situation, there may have been even an error that happened. There
That's
may
how
have,
I remember it.
huh?
That's how I
Mom?
remembered it as an error.
Yeah, there may
That it
have
was
even been an error. Thank you, Miss Paula. Thank you. Bless you, bless you, bless you, honey. Bless you. Miss Paula is hooking us up tonight, you guys, in the live chat. She is super chatting, super stickering. She is doing the most, and I am going to make her our stream sponsor. Thank you for being our stream sponsor this evening, Miss Paula. Bless you, bless you, bless you. All right. Now, so these, this was never meant to be public yet. They never meant for any of us to see this. And that's where the second lawsuit comes in, okay? Earlier this year, so Angelica, right? A financial firm called Angelica Capital Trust. We went through that lawsuit if you were with us that evening. We went through that lawsuit. So Angelica Trust filed a lawsuit against ARC. The lender claims that it provided $8 million, roughly, connected to tax credit financing. And says, and plus, I have a big problem with that anyway. Why the heck is ARC getting millions of dollars back in taxes? Why are they getting millions, $8 million in like a tax refund? I don't get no tax refund, not even as a single mother with 2 children. I don't get one, huh?
I wondered why they was getting that money too.
Right. They're a big business. Now, I remember back whenever our president's stuff was, and everybody was promising, businesses could get these tax breaks and this and that. I don't know. Is that one of those tax breaks that a big business like that would get to where they don't have to pay no taxes? They get it back. They get $8 million in tax back. So that's one thing that we're going to do. We are going to analyze all of these tax returns. That's one thing that I do in a lot of my, not a lot, in all of my investigation work. That's the first thing I do is pull the tax records. Nonprofits, businesses, whatever. I pull the tax records first. Thank you. Well, what do you guys, well, we haven't really said much yet, so let me wait until we get a little bit more in. So the lender claims that it provided roughly $8 million connected to those tax credits. And they say that ARC failed to repay the loan. In that lawsuit, Angelica asked the court to freeze ARC's assets. Freeze their bank accounts, please. And enforce arbitration agreements. And as part of that filing, the creditor attached documents discussing ARC's financial condition, including references to the DOJ settlement tied to the whistleblower fraud investigation. Now, once those documents were filed in court, the existence of the federal case became visible. Reporters quickly noticed the exhibits, and suddenly a sealed federal investigation was sitting inside a civil lawsuit docket. Now there's another layer to this situation. A second lender. This is where it gets good. A second lender came forward, and they also filed litigation claiming, so they filed a lawsuit against ARC, and they claimed that, hey, wait a minute, they sold us those credits. Those were ours. So they didn't just sell the same tax credits to Angelica. They also sold them to this second company. The same credits. The same tax. I mean, you talk about a good scheme. You know that they had to have known that they were going to get caught, unless they were just so arrogant and so comfortable with all of their big, powerful friends. Think about it. This DOJ settlement was sealed. None of us would ever know about it. What does that tell you? Does that tell you that nobody going to go to prison? That's what it tells me, that there ain't going to be no criminal no criminal charges. They're just going to do away with money. Let them pay back half of what they took. That ain't even half. 28 million, or no, yeah, 20, was it? What did I just say? 27 or 28 million, I think is what I said. But it said that they took 70 million, 28 million, yeah. Settlement worth nearly $28 million. But they took 70 million. So there's still $52 million or $53 million out there. Is that right? Did I do my math right, you all? Liam, I hate tax breaks for the rich. That ain't no tax break. That ain't no tax break. I don't know what that is. What would you call that? I mean, that ain't even, you don't pay taxes. They're getting a refund. I mean, I'm sure it's not actually called a refund, what they're getting, but still.
They're getting like a grant, or, that's what it works like. They just get the money for no reason. I mean.
Right. Just because they're a big company. That ain't right. Especially after they've done milked our state's Medicaid so much. And then we get the blame for it. Whenever they came in, like, that was what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to work in, was policy. The Office of Drug Control Policy. I can't tell you how many emails I wrote. I can't tell you how many times I had conversations with those people in those offices. Whenever they were putting the foundation in for Matt, they put every single bit of the regulation on us. And they didn't put any regulation on the people that were making the money. None whatsoever. They let them create $1 billion industry. $1 billion industry. Right here in the mountains of southeastern Kentucky. And it was an all-cash business. Do you think for a second that those businesses were paying their taxes? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Hand over fist. $400 per person. Cash, all cash. And if you didn't have it, you didn't get to see the doctor and you didn't get your medicine. It was basically extortion. And if you had insurance, they didn't care. They didn't take it. A creditor lawsuit revealed that lawsuit or that settlement in court filings. And the company is now facing financial disputes and federal scrutiny simultaneously, which they should. It's an unusual chain of events. Normally, False Claims Act investigations stay sealed until the government decides whether to intervene. But here, a completely different lawsuit may have pulled back the curtain early. So, what that tells me is this is all civil, and there ain't not one bit criminal, nothing in this. How is the DOJ? How does the DOJ negotiate a civil settlement in a criminal investigation? Fraud is a criminal statute. Now, I'm no lawyer, but something ain't smelling right in Denmark, y'all. Now, it's important to say that these are allegations contained in lawsuits and investigative reporting, and the cases are still developing. So no final judgment has been issued on the underlying fraud claims. Ain't no criminal charges either. But the documents that surfaced raise serious questions about Medicaid billing practices, financial stability, and the future of one of the region's largest addiction treatment networks. And this story may not be over. Oh, it is definitely not over. Because if the whistleblower case eventually becomes public, and I am all freaking over this, you better believe it, we could see far more details about how the alleged billing scheme worked. I think we're going to see courts involved in this themselves, because ARC was all down in Letcher County. ARC was all over Judge Kevin Mullins' courtroom. He was all over Jimmy Kraft's courtroom. So I just wonder, Michael Clark, buddy, he had the run of the courthouse as a community liaison. I wonder how much of that $70 million ended up down this way. Well, for now, the lawsuits are moving through the courts, and the documents that leaked this investigation into public view are already drawing attention, because Kentucky and the addiction treatment industry are watching. If new filings appear or the federal case is unsealed, we'll definitely revisit it. But until then, we will just have to wait and see. Now, there is an article that was written, How Kentucky's Addiction Recovery Care Allegedly Committed Massive Medicaid Fraud. This is the Louisville Public Media. and it's super, super long. Kentucky-based addiction coverage. We'll just skim through it a little bit. The FBI announced its investigation of Kentucky-based treatment provider ARC for potential Medicaid billing fraud in the summer of 24. But in the ensuing 18 months, there was little indication of what the large and influential company was accused of even doing. That all changed early this year thanks to a filing in the new federal lawsuit against Addiction Recovery Care. A new federal database that tracks monthly Medicaid payments to providers for each billing code of services that they provide. According to a Kentucky Public Radio review of the court filing, a copy of the $27.7 million draft settlement between the U.S. Department of Justice and ARC, federal prosecutors are likely targeting an extraordinary spike in Medicaid payments the company received for performing psychoeducation services, which a whistleblower alleges was fraudulently billed. A review of the new federal database also shows ARC was paid $70 million from Medicaid for this psychoeducation service in 23 and 24. Does that mean that $70 million was stretched between 23 and 24, or does that mean they were paid $70 million in 23 and another $70 million in 24? I was a little confused on that. Which accounted for 20% of all Medicaid payments under that billing code in the entire country for this 2-year period. I guess it'd be altogether. Psychoeducation. Listen to this. Listen to this. Do you think this was worth $70 million? Psychoeducation is a non-clinical service that provides general information about the recovery process, but is separate from actual addiction treatment provided by licensed psychotherapists and certified social workers. That could be peer support or just general information. Doesn't that sound a lot like what Preacher Man was doing for ARC as a community liaison? Doesn't that sound a whole lot like what MCHC says that they do for Letcher County for all this grant money? Doesn't it seem very similar? It does to me. Most states in Kentucky's region do not even pay out any Medicaid claims for this service. But payments to addiction treatment providers in Kentucky for psychoeducation absolutely exploded in recent years. Which politicians did that? Which politicians wrote that into law that allowed that to happen? That's what I want to know. Who's responsible for that here in Kentucky? When other states don't have it, why do we have it? Who did that? That wasn't just put in there for, willy-nilly for no reason. Interesting. It exploded in recent years, quadrupling to 34.7 million from 2020 to 2023. Yeah. What year did Mickey Steins become sheriff? 2018. What year did Matt and all of this money start really coming into the mountains? About 2020. Wasn't that the year that COVID hit? Yeah, it was the year COVID hit. And then you saw ARC as the only treatment provider that we really had down here in these mountains. Well, I mean, the money had to come from somewhere. The patients had to come from somewhere. Had to come from somewhere. I mean, it kind of seems like the people of southeastern Kentucky were used as supply and demand. That's what it seems to me like. That's what it seems to me like. Okay, quadrupling and then quadrupling again in 2024 alone. So it went from 34.7 million in 2023 to quadrupling again in 24 to 165.6 million. Now, some saw the red flags. The Kentucky Association of Health Plans, a trade group of the health insurance companies that administer Medicaid payments for the state, they're also called MCOs. Now, they warned state officials in the administration of Governor Andy Pandy in August of 24 that provider spending on non-clinical psychoeducation had inexplicably skyrocketed and urged them to stop payments for the services like other states. There was also the whistleblower who filed a federal civil lawsuit in Kentucky in April of 23, coming forward to allege ARC was fraudulently billing psychoeducation services by falsely indicating they were performed by a licensed professional, which garnered a much higher payment. The lawsuit had been sealed until this January, when a New York lender sued ARC for allegedly defaulting on an $8 million payment, filing as an exhibit the draft settlement ARC had shared with it, detailing the alleged psychoeducation billing scheme and the terms of the $27.7 million payment to dismiss the complaint. Oh, so as long as they had kept it sealed, then they could quietly negotiate a settlement with the person who filed that civil lawsuit. And as long as they kept it sealed, then the criminal investigation would never have to be public. They wouldn't never even have to do one, really. I mean, they say they did one. They say they opened one, but we ain't heard nothing about it. That's what happens when you got friends in high places, ain't it? You can keep stuff like that on the down low. Let it kind of pass over. And then people just forget about it. And if you just don't ever mention it again, it just goes away. All right. Once the largest addiction treatment provider in Kentucky and owned by a very prominent political donor to both parties. But see, they didn't start out that way. They went from one sober living house, and that was just in like 2018 that they had one sober living house. This did not grow out of like a 20-year span. This all happened in like 5 years or less. How can he be such a prominent That's how. That is how. Money. ARC has faced a precipitous downfall since the FBI investigation was announced. Since that time, ARC has closed more than half of its facilities and laid off numerous employees, in addition to the aborted attempt to sell off most of its assets to a Florida company in late 25. That company bailed out and they took off running. They didn't want nothing to do with it. State officials with the Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services and Department of Medicaid Services finally took action in late 24 to curb the rate of spending on psychoeducation, which by 25 plummeted by more than 100 million. Well, that's good. It says a spokesperson for ARC did not reply to inquiries for this story. However, some state lawmakers in Frankfurt want to do more. Come here. And want a full reckoning for how the Bashir administration let ARC and other providers siphon away so much taxpayer dollars in this period for a non-clinical service that is only an education supplement to actual addiction treatment. They better come down here and start looking at the rest of them, because ARC ain't the only one, I can tell you. No, they ain't the only one took advantage of every dime, pecker and Harry. One of those critics is GOP State Rep Ken Fleming. Oh, yeah. Of Louisville, who chairs the Kentucky Medicaid Oversight and Advisory Board that first met last summer. Shown the new federal data on Medicaid payments that ARC received in 23 and 24, Fleming said this should have been a red flag that was caught much earlier. No, because it's all their friends that were getting rich. Everybody knew exactly what was going on. They can't tell me nothing like that. They all knew exactly what was going on. They were all trying to eat because that's how they all do. How can we all eat on this? How can we all eat? Food. Money. I bet they get naked and roll around in it. What do y'all think?
What, all that money?
Yeah. You think they get naked and roll around in it? Whooshies. Hello, honey. We ain't seen you in a while. Welcome home. Welcome home. What you gonna say there, Zelmy?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Don't remember now. It was something about all that money.
Well,
I wonder what they do with it. Just spend it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows?
Can you look at their income tax filings and see?
Yeah, but that doesn't show us what they did with their money. I've got we've been on here for an hour tonight. So we're not gonna look at the court records tonight. We're just gonna read this and kind of get introduced to it. But then we will read the documents tomorrow, though, where we talked about the Campbell County deputy. I think we should do that. But if not, I mean, y'all holler at me and let me know. If y'all don't want to do the deputy, let me know. We'll do shows on what y'all want. Mary Law Will. Hello, honey. And never helped our sick children, just threw them in prison for years. We miss our children. That was all a big that was just all a big political talking point. Them people don't give a dang about nobody but their own ambition and their own careers. They are not gonna make any kind of political enemy or hurt their chance at re-election. They're just not going to do it. I've not met one that I think would. Not yet. But I mean, I can always be proved wrong. Can always be proved wrong. All right. There was no oversight. There was no control quality measures in terms of monitoring and making sure that these numbers are trending in a normal, understandable way. Fleming said, what have I been saying this whole year and a half that I've been on here? There's no oversight. There never has been. Like I said, they made $1 billion industry out of Eastern Kentucky. And many of us have been saying it. This is not new. It's what's new is that somebody's finally starting to listen. You've got media like Louisville Public Media that would even put a story like this out. The local news, the local networks in Eastern Kentucky, they're not going to go against nobody. They're not going to go against none of the big wigs around here. They're not even going to do any kind of investigative reporting around here. Nope. I dropped my lid. They will not do it. So, if there's going to be any kind of investigative reporting in Appalachia, it's going to come from our network. You better believe that. All right, guys. Let's see. Let me get back over here. We've been on here long enough. We've been on here. It's almost 10 o'clock. So we'll just go ahead and close this one out. Let me see how much. Yeah, because we still got a long way to go. Look at this. Medicaid payments to ARC for psychoeducation services, 20 to 24. Look at that graph. Louisa, Owings, it's got two different places, Louisa and Owingsville. But they had places all over the state. So we'll finish reading this. If you guys want to follow, like we said, follow us on the Patreon, because that is where Miss Paula, 1, 2, did we hit the goal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did we get the confetti? Did y'all see the confetti? Did I miss it? We should have hit the confetti. Miss Paula. Oh, but that's the first time we've hit it. Yes, we hit the confetti and I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was talking and I just missed it, I guess. Thank you, Miss Paula. God bless you, honey. I love you so much. Dave says, Tater, a nice Denali costs about $110,000.
What does?
A big truck.
Oh. Well, I guess maybe you're right.
Yeah.
It would. And they probably all had big fancy cars.
Carrie Sullivan says, whatever happened to that fake, the dog turd? Did he run off with the school teacher, as Philip put it? A blonde went to Mexico. I don't know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the football coach. He's still on the run. Miss Paula, I just cannot thank you enough. Make sure you guys come to Patreon and check out. I will be putting up a couple more articles tonight in the morning. I'm also adding videos, clips from the power hearings, and I'm going to be adding clips of Mickey Stein's and the judge case, all different kinds of cases I'm going to be putting up, but especially the ones that we're following for sure. Anyway, thank you, Jesus, for another day being able to come together in your name, Lord. I'm thankful today that Mommy's feeling better and she's on the mend. I'm thankful for all the healings that people have been telling us that they've felt and that they've gotten. Thank you, Lord. You know, we give you all praise and all honor and glory. You are the ultimate physician. You are the ultimate counselor, doctor, lawyer, all of it. I can't walk without you holding my hand, Lord. I love you, Jesus. I pray for your comfort and your mercy and your grace. That peace that passes all understanding. You're the only place that we get that from. We can't get that nowhere else but you. A lot of people are struggling tonight, Lord. We've got hillbillies that are taking care of their parents, their ailing parents. And I pray for them. I pray for their parents and I pray for them. Give them strength. Give them comfort and peace. Give them whatever it is that they need. I pray that you just touch us all according to what our needs are. And you know what all those needs are, Lord. You know all about it. I pray that you go with us tonight and bring us back tomorrow at the safe and appointed time. And until then, we give you all praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here with us tonight, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Miss Paula. I love you, honey. God bless you. We'll see you on the Patreon. Bye, Mommy. I love you.
Bye-bye.
Can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no